Hello everybody, I'm Daniel. Today I'm going to talk about the second part of Singapore's history, the early settlers, with my brother Terry.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so how many people from where came to Singapore and settled? Tell me, Terry. Maybe you don't know, right? Okay, let me tell you. So at first, it's the East India Company from the Britain who came to Singapore. So Britain is over here. This is over here. Then after that, they came down to South Africa. Then go up again to Somali. Then to Saudi Arabia, which is Arabia last time, and to India, Sri Lanka, and after that to Singapore, and later they went to China and Japan eventually. Okay, so why do they do that? Okay, so they want to trade for goods and money. That's what everybody wants. Okay, now let's look. Terry, what was made in Africa?
Frankincense, precious gems.
Frankincense is a kind of stone. Yeah, precious gems. Everybody know that. Diamonds.
Carpets.
Yes.
Cinnamon, cotton cloves, and cloves.
Okay, so cinnamon and cloves, they put them into the food, to make it more delicious. Then after that, okay, so the ships from East India Company are called the East Indiaman. Then from Portugal is called the Portuguese Caravel. If it's from Arabia, then called the Arabia Dhow. It's from India, then called the Indian Trading Vessel. It is from Java. I had talked about it before. Java is this island over here. Java. Then it's called the Japanese Golkan. It's from Bugis Polar. If it's from somewhere around the Malay Archipelago, it's called the Bugis Polari. Now after that, if it's from China, then it's called the Chinese junk. Okay. Then in China, they have a nutmeg, or something that you put in food, and porcelain. Everybody know that in Chinese, it's called 瓷器. After that, they have pepper. That's what you put in food, and tea, sandalwood, silk, and bird's nest. Yeah, everybody know that, right? Bird's nest. I think your mother will like it. I mean, your mother loves it. Now, let's move on. So, one group came from the Riau Islands. Okay, Batam and Bintan. Okay, it's Batam and Bintan. They are a part of Indonesia. Indonesia is this country over there. It's somewhere in Indonesia. Okay, then other groups from Malay Archipelago also came to settle in Singapore. These groups are the Javanese over here. We have talked about it. Then, the Minangkabals, and the Boyanese. Okay. The settlers from Malay Archipelago came with their different languages and customs. For example, the Javanese spoke Javanese and dressed differently from Minangkabals. Okay, some traders in the Malay Archipelago had been in the Malay Archipelago for a long time. In 1820, as many as 500 Bugis came here to trade in their ships called prahas. The Bugis also helped spread news of Singapore as a port to those they traded elsewhere. Okay, some Malays were expert boat builders. They built boats that were strong enough to carry heavy goods and could travel long distances. The boat builders also helped to repair ships that stopped to trade. Some started Gambier plantations while others worked as laborers, gardeners, and fishermen. So what is Gambier? Gambier is a native plant used in dyeing and tanning. Gambier gives a brownish color known as khaki and is used for dyeing and tanning cotton, wood, silk, and leather. So Arabia is over here, right? We're going to talk about Arabia now. The Arabs from Arabia were an important group of traders who settled in Singapore. Many were originated from present-day Yemen. Okay, so Yemen is a country over here. You see that? Wait, let me make it more clear. It's over here in the red line. Arab traders had been trading in Europe, India, China, and the Malay archipelago for centuries before the founding of Singapore. Many of the Arabs who settled in Singapore had actually been living in the Malay archipelago. Okay, but even though the Arabs were not a big community in Singapore compared to the other groups of settlers, but they played a very big role in Singapore's trade. Okay, let's find out about it. So I'm gonna talk about the tale of three families. We already know that the Arabs were traders who had traveled the seas between Arabia, India, China in search of goods, right?
Yeah.
Then in the 1820s, they started coming to where?
To a small port called Singapore.
Correct. Many decided that Singapore was a good place to trade and they settled here. There's a man called Syed Sharaf Omar bin Ali Al Junaid. Some were like him, who set up his business in Singapore and brought his family to settle here. He started a business to trading textile and spices. Some Arab traders saw that money could be made moving goods between places they were familiar with. One such family was the Al-Sagoths, who were led by the Syed Muhammad bin Ahmad Al-Sagoth. So that's the second family. The Al-Sagoths were very successful. They owned a fleet of ships that allowed them to trade in the region and beyond. Another family, the third family, the Al-Kafs, made their fortune from spices and property. Some properties in Singapore still bear their name. The Al-Kafs built the first indoor shopping arcade at Collyer Quay. The present arcade building stands on this side. So let's look at it now. Okay, so this road is called the Collyer Quay and the arcade is somewhere around here. Okay, here it is Raffles Place over here, you know. Okay, some Arabs also contributed the building of schools, places of worship, and hospitals to help the community. For example, the Al Junaid family contributed land for the building of Tan Tock Seng Hospital and St. Andrew's Cathedral. The family also contributed to the building of the mosque at Keng Cheow Street. We'll look at it later. Now, let's move on. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the Indians. The Indians, okay, they play a very important part. Let's look at India. Okay, like the Arabs, the Indians have been trading in Malay archipelago for centuries. There were many groups of people who came from India to Singapore. These groups are the Malayalis, the Telugus, the Sinhalese, the Tamils, the Punjabis, the Gujaratis, the Bengalis, and the Sinhalese. Okay, let's look at the Sinhalese and the Tamils. Okay, so the Sinhalese and the Tamils are from the present-day Sri Lanka. And now the Bengalis you might need to remember this name, are from the Bangladesh now. And Pakistan, the Sinhalese are from Pakistan. And the Telugus are from a country over here last time, because now it's India now, called Andhra Pradesh. And a country over here last time, there was a country over here called Tamil Nadu, are home to the Tamils, some of the Tamils. And last time there were a country of over here called Kerala. Okay, so Kerala are the home of the Malayalis. And over here, last time there was also a country. You saw this obvious, this place over here. They are home to the Gujaratis. And over here, last time there was also a country called Punjab. It was the home for the Punjabis. Let's move on. Okay. As India is a large place, different groups use different languages and practice different customs. Look at some of the different groups that came to Singapore. Okay. There were Indian merchants who traded in goods and spices, and others who owned businesses. One such group was the Chettiars mentioned above. Okay, Chettiars. Chettiars were mainly from Tamil Nadu and were Hindus. Notice the ash markings. They have ash markings on their head. 3 ash markings. Okay, the Chettiars, many were moneylenders who loaned money. Okay, some Indians were sent here to work by the British. Like Singapore, India was under the rule of the British. Thus, Indian soldiers were brought to Singapore to help defend it and keep law and order. With the soldiers came bakers, cooks, dhobies, and tailors. So dhobi means dhobi, washermen, who provided services to the soldiers. Okay. There were also Indian convict laborers who were brought here to build roads and buildings. Okay, there are also coolies from India, so coolies. Next time I will talk about it later. Okay, Terry have a question. Okay, please ask me. Please tell me the question. What is your question?
My question is, why the Indian soldiers must come to Singapore to help them?
Okay, you know that because you know.
And why can the British soldier come?
You know that British have many. They were ruling many places in that time, so they don't have enough soldiers. So Canada were part of them. After a part of South America, where there's many parts of Africa were some parts of Africa also. Then India also. Look, India, Pakistan included, Nepal, Bhutan included, Bangladesh included, and Myanmar included, are the British colonies. Okay, so they don't have enough soldiers. So as the British were ruling India, they commanded India to send soldiers to protect Singapore. So that's why it happened.
Okay.
Okay. So let's talk about the Chinese. Okay, I'm a Chinese. Okay. People from China have been trading in Singapore from as early as the 1300s. Okay, so the 14th century. Soon after Singapore was made a free port. Remember that. more Chinese traders who had been living on the Real Islands and the Malacca became to trade in Singapore. Okay, so there are the Hakkas, so from Guangxi province, Guangdong, and Fujian province, and the Hainanese from the Hainan, and the Hochos, Henhuas, and Hokkiens from Taiwan now. Okay, let's move on. Like the Indians, the Chinese took up a wide range of occupations. There were traders like Xia Yuqin, a Teochew, who started out with a snack shop selling ropes, nails, canvas, and other goods for ships. With the money made from his shop, he started planting Gambier and eventually became known as the Gambier King. His plantations stretched from the River Valley Road to the Bukit Timah Road and Thompson Road. He later contributed money to the Tan Tock Seng Hospital. I'll talk about it later. He and his sons, Liang Xia and Pek Xia, were leaders in the Chinese community. Okay, let's look at another well-known Chinese. So another well-known Chinese was Hu A-Kei. He took over his father's business of supplying foodstuffs to the ships. Later, he expanded the business to stores, selling many other goods, and opened a bakery. He even bought ice from America and sell locally. He was better remembered today as Wang Pua. However, not every Chinese had the money to be a trader or to start a business. There were many Chinese settlers who came as workers. Many Chinese laborers were hired as what, Terry?
Coolies.
Correct, coolies. So there are coolies from India and coolies from China. The coolies had to sign an agreement to work for a certain number of years. Many were extremely poor and hoped to make a fortune to return home. Others were skilled workers, like carpenters, barbers, and blacksmiths. Those who did not have any skills worked as laborers, servants, and rickshaw pullers. There were also women who worked as amas. Amas are the babysitters, okay? So Europe, let's talk about Europe now. So this is the Britain. Here we have Portugal, Spain, France, and Germany, Netherlands, and Belgium. We will talk about these countries first. Okay, the people who came to Singapore from Europe were mainly from Britain because Singapore was a British port. There were also people who came from France, Germany, and Netherlands, Portugal, Spain, and other countries in Europe. Some Europeans came as traders who owned large trading companies. Others owned plantations or worked as managers in the plantations. Some of these plantations grew rubber, yet others worked from tin mining companies. Let's go back. Okay, settlers from other parts of the world. Okay, we have the Armenians. When Singapore was established, Armenians living in Malacca and Penang came to settle here. So Malacca is over here, somewhere over here. Oh yeah, here we have Malacca, Ma Liu Jia. And Penang is somewhere in Malaysia. Yeah. Then the Armenians were a small community, but they ran many businesses. Yeah, because do you know that the number of Armenians never went never numbered more than 100? That's really a small community of Armenians, right? Okay, let's talk about the Jews. In 1858, there were 20 Jewish families in Singapore. Most of the Jewish community came from either India or Europe. like the Armenians, the Jews were a small community. Okay, the Jews was known as 犹太人 in Chinese. Famous Jews in Singapore include Abraham Solomon, Sir Manasseh Mayer, David Marshall, and Jacob Ballas. Okay, Sir Manasseh once owned many buildings like the present-day Goodwood Park Hotel and Killiney House. Okay, let's look at it. Here we have the Goodwood Park Hotel. It's over here. Yeah, it's a good hotel actually. Okay, let's look at the Killiney House. Here we have the Killiney House. Okay, let's look at the 3D building of it. So it's very modern. Let's go back. Okay, the Goodwood Park Hotel in 1902 was known as the Teutonia Club. Let's move on. And okay, it's the end of the chapter. Okay, so I'll talk about the next part of Singapore next time. Thank you for watching.